Welcome to Tuesday's class. All right, so we're going to continue learning how to convert fractions and decimals together. Let's talk about mixed numbers as decimals. Now, a mixed number has a whole number and also a fraction attached to it. For example, like this, 3 and 1/2. Let's express 3 and 1/2 as a decimal. Okay? So, in this case here, for 3 1/2, where's my whole number in this mixed number? This 3 here is my whole number. Then where's my fraction in this mixed number? My 1/2 is my fraction. What we're going to do is when we want to change our mixed number into a decimal is we're going to ignore the whole number for now. Let's just focus on the fraction. Our main goal is, with the fraction part, is to get a denominator to be 10 or 100. Why? If the denominator is a 10 or 100 in a fraction, well, we can easily place it in our place value chart over here. Let's see what I'm talking about, okay? So, let's see. In my fraction of 1/2, what's my denominator? It's a 2. So, if it's a 2, can I make it a 10 more easily or can I make it 100 more easily? I would probably say 10. So you're going to try to find an equivalent fraction of where, and I can't forget my whole number, right? Because if I forget it, then I might not remember to put it back later, okay? So I'm going to keep my whole number, and then now I want my denominator to be a 10. If my denominator there is a 10, how did I get from 2 to 10? I had to multiply it by 5. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. I have to multiply that by 5. And 1 times 5 is 5. So now here is my new mixed number that's equivalent to my old mixed number. 3 1/2 is equivalent to 3 5/10. When I'm saying it out loud, 3 5/10, I know how to put it in my place value chart. 3 5/10 is 3 ones and 5/10. So what's my decimal? My decimal becomes 3.5. Or we can also say 3 5/10. All right, let's do some guided practice. Could you try this on your own? And pause the video. When you're ready, play the video and let's check our answers together. See you soon. Good luck. Hi, how was it? Easy peasy lemon squeezy? Super hard? Let's work it out together. So let's look at number 7, 2 3/5. Let me make my video screen a little bit bigger since I'm working on the board. Okay. Maybe that's a little better. So now, what should I do first? Well, this is a mixed number, so it has a whole number and my fraction. I need to just focus on my fraction. I want to change the denominator of my fraction into a 10 or 100. Can 5 be changed to 10 or 100 more easily? I would say 10. So I'm going going to write an equal sign, and I cannot forget my whole number because again, if you forget it, at this point, you might forget it later when you want to put it in the place value chart, okay? So 2, and then now my denominator, I'm going to write my 2 a little better, okay, because it's kind of high. There, that looks like a whole number, right? And then this is my fraction bar. I'm going to choose a 10, and I don't know my numerator yet, okay? So let's take a look, okay? So, let's look at the fraction part, 5 to 10. What did I do to get 10 from 5? I multiplied it by 2. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the, I believe in Videoland you are saying numerator. Okay, so I have to multiply that by 2. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so now my equivalent mixed number is 2 and 6/10. So, I know how to say it, which means I know how to write it in my place value chart. Okay, so I'm going to write 2 and 6/10 in my place value chart. So 2 and 6/10. So what's my decimal? My decimal here becomes 2.6. Ta-da! All right, let's look at the next one. 9 and 1/4. Okay, so again, should we focus on our whole number or our fraction? Our fraction. And we want to make sure our denominator can be 10 or 100. Now, I believe this came up before in our example, in our first lesson of the week, okay? But let's just try it again together, okay? So I'm going to write an equal sign, and I can't forget my whole number. And then my denominator, 4 is pretty close to 10. But can I do 4 times a number gets 10? 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. No, I can't. So I have to make my denominator 100, okay? And here, I know that one way I like to remember 4 and 100 is with money. I know that if I have 4 quarters, that is equal to 100 cents. And so that helps me remember 4 times 25 is equal to 100. Okay, so whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator, because these are equivalent fractions, and we're going to multiply this by 25 as well. So what is 1 times 25? Well, that's 25. So now my equivalent mixed number is 9 and 25 hundredths. I said it. So now I know where to place it on my place value chart. Okay, so 9 and 25 hundredths, 9 and 25 hundredths. Okay, so this becomes 9.25, or 9 and 25 hundredths. Sweet. Okay, all right. Let's look at number 9. 5 and 27 fiftieths. Okay, well, when I look at that mixed number and I look at my fraction, I'm going to immediately examine my denominator. Can I change 50 to a 10 by multiplying? No. So I'm going to actually change my denominator into 100. Okay? 50 times what gets you 100? It's just times 2. Okay? So whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. So 27 times 2. Ooh, I don't know this off the top of my head. So I'm going to do some work on the side here. Okay, 27 times 2. Okay, let's see. 27 times 2. I'm going to do 7 times 2, which is 14. 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 27 times 2 is 54. So this becomes 54. Oh no, do you see what I forgot? I forgot to write my whole number. Oh, Mrs. Jones. So let me just squeeze it in here. So now I'm going to read this out loud. I'm going to read this as 5 and 54 hundredths. Now that I read it out loud, I know where to put it in my place value chart over here. So we read 5 and 54 hundredths. Okay, so number 9 becomes 5.54 or 5 and 54 hundredths. Ooh, all right. You guys are doing great. Okay, next. Yeah, you got this. All right, let me minimize my video so you guys can take a look at what you're going to learn. All right, so we're going to express decimals as fractions now. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's look at this example. Oh, we're going to write 0.8 as a fraction in simplest form. Okay, so when I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my place value chart, okay? And either you can literally get a place value chart in front of you and write it down, or you can mentally envision a place value chart, okay? So it says, I'm going to write the decimal in here. 0.8 is written like this. Now, how do I, oh, this is kind of uneven. All right, now how do I say this? I say this as 8 tenths. Now that I said it, I know how to write it as a fraction. 0.8 is 8 tenths as my fraction. Okay. Is this in simplest form? No, because we still have some common factors between 8 and 10. Let me see. I know they're even numbers, so right away I'm going to divide it by 2. And then that becomes 4/5. Is this in simplest form? Yeah, because 4 and 5 don't have any other common factor besides 1. So this is in simplest form. So here is your fraction for this decimal in simplest form. 0.8 is equal to 4/5. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to express decimals as mixed numbers. Okay, so let's take a look here. Express 2.5 as a mixed number. Okay, so again, I'm going to write it in my place value chart. Okay, this way when I write it in, it can remind me how to read it out loud or say it out loud. Okay, so 2.5, 2.5. How do I say this out loud? 2.5, or you can say 2 and 5 tenths. Oh, now that I said it out loud, I know how to write it as a fraction, or I mean as a mixed number. So 2.5 equals 2 and 5 tenths. Okay. And did I simplify this? Can I simplify it? When I simplify a mixed number, I'm not going to look at my whole number. I'm only going to focus on my fraction, okay? So when I want to simplify this, let's look at the fraction. And I can't forget to write my whole number, okay? So let's see, 5 and 10. What's a common factor? 5. So I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. And so 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 and a half. Can I simplify this more? No, because the fraction doesn't have any other common factor for the numerator and denominator besides 1. So 2.5 is written as my mixed number 2 and a half. All right, one more example. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we have 7.25. Again, I'm going to write it in my handy place value chart. Okay, so I'm going to write 7.25. Now that I wrote it, I know how to say it. 7 and 25 hundredths. Now that I know how to say it, I know how to write it as a fraction. 7.25 is 7 and 25 hundredths. Now we have to simplify our mixed number. When I simplify the mixed number, remember, we don't focus on our whole number. Although we can't forget to write our whole number, we don't focus on it. We're going to just focus on our fraction, okay? So 7 and 25 hundredths is equal to 7 and something over something, okay? So let's see, 25 and 100, okay? I know 5 can go in there, okay? So I can divide the numerator and denominator by 5, okay? If I do that, let's see, so divide the numerator and the denominator by 5, okay? Then 25 divided by 5 is 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20, okay? Am I done? Yes? No? Keep going? You're right, I have to keep going, okay? Because 5 and 20 have a common factor of 5, so I can divide it by 5 again. Okay, and then that would equal, and I can't forget my whole number, because you saw how I forgot it before. Okay, so 5 divided by 5 is 1, 20 divided by 5 is 4. So 7.25 is equal to my mixed number, 7 and 1/4. Okay? All right, now it's your turn, okay? Please try the guided practice numbers 10 through 12. Pause the video and I'll see you soon. Hello, how was it? Okay, so let's do this together. Okay, number 4. Okay, I'm gonna write actually 10, 11, 12 in here. Okay, so I can get ready. So number 10 is 0.4. Number 11 is 3.75. Number 12 is 2.45. Okay, but for now, let's just focus on number 10, 0.4. How do I say this in words? It's 4/10. Okay, so if that's 4/10, then I know how to write it as a fraction, 4/10. And I see, oh, they have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to divide it by 2. And this would equal 2/5. So 0.4 is equal to 2/5. And my fraction is in simplest form because there's no other common factor between the numerator and denominator besides 1. All right, now let's look at 3.75. How do I read 3.75 as with the word hundredths in it? It's 3 and 75 hundredths. So now that I read it, I know how to write it as a fraction, right? So this is equal to 3 and 75 hundredths, okay? And you guys can see a common factor of 5, but I also see a common factor of 25, okay? Because I know that 3/4 is equal to 75 cents, okay? And 4/4 is equal to 100 cents. That's what I remember with money, okay? So 75 divided by 25 is actually 3, and then 100 divided by 25 is 4, but Mrs. Jones, you forgot the whole number. Because if I just wrote a fraction like this, 3/4, that's way different than 3 and 3/4, right? Okay, so we can't forget our whole number. There we go, okay? And now, let's look here, our last one for number 12. 2.45 is read as 2 and 45 hundredths, okay? So, now that I read it, I know how to write it as a fraction, or I mean a mixed number, 2 and 45 hundredths, okay? Well, I know that I can divide by 5 because my ones place as a 5 or a 0, right? For my 45 and then 100, right? So I can divide it by 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. 100 divided by 5 is 20. And I gotta include my whole number here. So 2 and 9/20. Let's see. Is there a common factor between 9 and 20? 3, 4, but I can't go in there, 5. This is it, okay? So 2.45 is equal to my mixed number 2 and 9/20. Sweet. Yay! Good job! In summary, okay, when you want to change a fraction or a mixed number into a decimal, kind of like what we did over here, what should we do, okay? Well, number one, you're going to examine just the fraction part if it's a mixed number, or just a fraction if it's a fraction. Then you're going to find an equivalent fraction where the denominator is 10 or 100. I would recommend then saying out loud your new equivalent fraction, and then write the result on a place value chart to find the decimal. Now, what about if it was a decimal and you want to change it to a fraction or a mixed number? What should you do? And I'm going to minimize my video screen because I feel like I'm going to be covering you up the direction. So maybe I'll move myself right over here. Okay. So this is our example, right? Okay, that we did. So what I would recommend is writing your decimal in your place value chart. Say it out loud using the words tenths or hundredths. Then you know how to write the fraction or the mixed number, and then simplify the fraction if you need to. All right, I will see you on Thursday. Can you see this character rolling away? I thought it was really funny. Okay, thank you for paying attention and working hard. I'm really proud to be your teacher, and I'll see you soon. Bye.